Hello and welcome to the 24 UK podcast. Today we are joined by one Gregory Itzin, who of course played, or should I say plays, Charles Logan. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you, and welcome to the other side of the pond.
Thank you.
Yeah. Greg's just been looking at pictures of himself.
No, actually I was looking for pictures of myself, and I thought I'd better let that go and focus on what we're doing here. So.
Excellent. No, there are some good photos of you in that book.
Yeah.
Anyway, definitely. So, last time we saw you, you were flatlining in the back of an ambulance.
Yes. I think we're losing him was my part of
Yeah.
Yes.
So what happened next? Where you went to the hospital, presumably.
Oh, you want that?
Have you got a backstory?
None that they gave me. Anything I'd be telling you, I'd be making up in the spur of the moment. What happened next was the night after they shot that, it aired. I called Howard Gordon, the producer, and said, "So, am I dead?" And he said, "No." There was no empty clock. You know, at the end when people die, they don't do the dink. So all of that was a good sign because it meant I was still alive. And did I make up a backstory? No, I actually asked. It's a terrible thing to let be known. If you're dead, you're gone. They're done with you, in a way. By that I mean they don't fill in any more stories. They don't say where you've been.
Yeah.
Because they're so interested in the now, they don't worry about the then on the show. So when I was fortunate enough this season to have Howard call and say, "Are you interested in coming back?" Which of course I am. I had emailed Howard off and on for the last couple of years saying, "Everybody wants to know what happened to Logan. Don't you think we should do something about that?"
So you really wanted to come back then?
Me?
Yeah.
Sure. It's the most, I don't want to say fun. Fun is not exactly the word. It's the most challenging, demanding, exciting, fun show. I really enjoyed the character. I liked I was allowed to have a certain amount of input in what we were doing and stuff, and you don't get that. You get that hardly ever anywhere. And to have it on a show like 24, I wanted to hold on to that. So it didn't happen, and finally I, in my parlance, gave it away. I said, "This is not going to happen. That's okay. The show will end and whatever."
Yeah.
But I still, I was still in touch with Howard because we're friends. And I actually wrote, before I said that, I actually wrote one last email saying, everybody on the outside, when I go to these functions and stuff, wants to know what happened to Logan. But then I said, that's it, no more. I'm not going to beg anymore. I felt like I was approaching the, "Oh, please have me back" place. And then very shortly after that, they came up with the storyline. Howard said, "You know what? This is my last year." I don't know if that's a scoop or not. But it pretty much seems to be that this is, at least contractually and etc., the last year. He says, "My last year, I'd like to have Logan back to play with." So they've written me in, and I show up on the last third. I don't know if it's ever been said, but the shows usually break down into there's 24 shows, so that's, what is it? 1 through 8, 8 through 16, 16 to 24.
Shakespearean, I believe.
Yeah, sort of 3 acts, sort of 3 arcs. They're not really acts, but sort of 3 arcs. So they have to, I don't know what their end game is, and this is a particularly, according to them, daunting season. But after you do 7 years of, international jeopardy, what do you do for an encore? So it's hard. But I come on in the last, for the end game.
Most
Whatever that may be, hopefully,
yeah.
yes, which is what I came on in season 4 too. I came on in season 16 then. I mean, in hour 16, and this year I come on in hour 17. So we'll see. I have no idea where it's going, and like the time they wrote it before, I don't know until I see a script exactly.
Yeah. Exciting
what
stuff.
the twists are going to be.
So, judging by your current appearance,
Yeah.
No beard this year?
No. I did pitch it. I thought, sometimes I forget when I came back on the show, I forget that it's 24 hours. So it's not like you can show up with something, go home and shave.
Yeah.
Once you show up, you're there. So I sort of said, well, how about if he comes on? And they said no. So no beard this year. And go ahead, ask me a question I've been talking to.
So before we delve into season 8 and
Yeah.
what you might be up to,
Yeah.
did you watch any season 7?
Yes, I did. I liked season 7. I thought it was Telling tales out of school? I don't think so. I thought it was more of a return to form. I think, and everybody I think agrees, there's a consensus that they sort of lost their way in season 6.
Yeah.
I mean, I was glad to be a part of it. I was glad to show up and have my wife stab me. I because there was some really good stuff to play with there. But I think overall, nobody was totally happy, including the fans with season 6.
Yeah.
So 7 was a comeback, and I think 8 has the potential to be even better. You know, I think is already working its way toward being better than 7. So.
Talking about your wife.
Yeah.
Does Charles miss Martha?
Charles misses Martha. Greg misses having Jean Smart to play with and to always be a presence in the back of my mind in scenes, even when she's not present. In season 5, just her, there was a Martha in my mind all the time for various reasons. And she's, also just obviously fantastic to be on screen with. We always challenged each other and had a great time. So I miss Martha, and I have sort of incorporated that into some of the things that I'm doing, though I never say it, and nobody has scripted it. I don't talk. Once again, there's very little chit chat that isn't on 24 that isn't about what's going on right now. That's what makes it exciting. That's what makes it sort of daunting too, because if an actor like me anyway likes to have backstory, and there's none given. I mean, I said, so where's Martha? And they all to the writers, and they all sort of looked at each other and said, she's still under lock and key or whatever.
I was going to say, she hasn't been released yet.
No, she hasn't been released yet. So that makes that easy. My own sense is that we're estranged. I made that one reach out to her. The last time I did, went into the hospital. So
lots of fruit thrown at you.
And fruit, and then a paring knife in my shoulder. So yeah. He does. Logan, does he miss her? Yes, in a perverse. Well, I don't know if it's perverse or not. I mean, he misses having her to bounce things off of, because before they were sort of, up against each other in a bad way.
Brother and sister relationship.
Yeah, kind of. Or more than, he was there. She was his helpmate, and I think she was, sort of Lady M to his M, to a certain degree, and I missed that. Yeah.
So Charles, when we saw him back in season 6,
Yep.
he was looking for redemption.
Yep.
Is he still looking for that, or is there something more sinister about his character this season?
Well, I would say the latter. There's probably something more sinister about his character. A little left-handed there. Because we sort of, we played that trope out in a way, and I think they, if you're going to bring Charles Logan back, use him for what we all love him for, which is getting things stirred up. So essentially what happens, I don't know if that's a question that is looming, but already it's been established there's a peace treaty afoot centered around a mythical country, Iran-like country called Kamistan, I think it is. Yeah. And of all the countries that have come to play, of course, the one that is giving people trouble are the Russians. And the assumption made in episode 16, I guess, is that we're having trouble with the Russians. Let's call against her better judgment. It is recommended to her that she call in Charles Logan because of his acumen with the Russians.
And so
she does. And I eagerly show up. Apparently, I've been running a political consultancy firm fairly successfully in New York.
So you weren't under house arrest anymore?
No, I'm not under house arrest anymore.
Was that a
You seem quite proud of that.
I am. Who wants to, it's a lovely place to be, but who wants to be there all the time?
Was that a presidential pardon then to get released? Or?